Hello, everybody. Excuse me, I'm recovering from a cold here. My name is Kristen, and I am your host for AMN Live Q&A. I'm joined here by our fabulous ASL interpreting team, Jeremy and Audrey, who's behind the scenes. And also behind the scenes are our guests. We'll bring them out in just a second. But before we do that, just wanted to let you all know in the audience that the purpose of this session is to hear from you, okay? So please, at any time, any questions that are on your mind, drop them into the chat. We'll do our best to get them answered. And before we get started, we do want to hear from you. Where are you? What's your name? So shoot your first name and your location in the chat so we can give you a little shout out and a hello. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring out some of our wonderful guests. Let's start with Carla and Kevin. Carla, introduce yourself, please.
Yes, hi. My name is Carla. I am one of the office verifications coaches here at AMN. I have been with the company for about 8 years now. And yeah, I'll be here to help with any questions regarding your office setup. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Carla. And Kevin. Kevin is one of my favorite people on earth and also in AMN. So introduce yourself to everyone, Kevin.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Kevin Donovan. I started with AMN back in 2019. Work as a talent acquisition supervisor. So within the talent acquisition team, I'll be going over some of the onboarding requirements that are covered and when they're covered as you would progress through the interview stage.
Awesome. Thank you. We're happy to have you. And Jonas, nice to see you. Can you introduce yourself to the group? Oh, I think he's gone, but I can. Oh, he's back. I was going to start introducing you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hi. Hi. Welcome to the Ellis Show. My name is Jonas. I am part of the Spanish interpreting team here. I've been working with AMN for the past 3 years now, a bit more than that. And well, I had the chance to go through the office verification process myself, and I am really excited to be here and talk about it.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. So, oh, we have quite a few people here. We have Mitra from Orlando. We have Michael from Boston, Luis in Mexico, Sora from California, Andrew from Minnesota, Emmanuel. Thank you so much, guys. We have someone, Najwa from Maryland. This is really cool. We have all time zones represented here. Julia from Chicago, Ray from Raleigh. Nice to have you all here. Thank you so much for joining. Daniel from Mexico City. So why are we here? We're here to talk about VRI home office requirements. And this is a really good topic because I think there's a big misconception out there that, remote work, you can do it from anywhere, right? You could do it from the hotel when you're on vacation. You can do it from the beach. And the purpose of this conversation is to really kind of set that record straight and explain why and, what the benefit is to the client, to the LEP, and then even to the interpreter for having strict and secure home office requirements. So let's go ahead and start. I want to hear from Carla. Can you just tell the audience kind of what are the home office requirements here at AMN Language Services?
Yeah, of course. So our requirements are that you are in an enclosed private room with 4 solid walls. It has to be free of any noise and distractions. You must have a door that locks, covered windows that block all natural lighting in, just because we want to keep a consistent image of you on video. We also require that you have additional lighting such as lamps or even our favorite, the ring light. You do also have to have a sturdy desk that will fit all of your equipment because you will have 2 monitors. So we have to make sure that you do have everything fits on your desk. Your black office chair. If you don't have a black office chair, you can use an office chair of any other color, just adding something black over it. We do provide a blue backdrop that you must set up onto a solid wall to avoid it from falling over during any live sessions. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Just making sure that you do show everything and have everything to pass the office verification requirements.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. And we'll talk more about, I know a few people have mentioned office verification, so that's kind of one of our house terms here. We're going to get into that in detail, but Jonas, from the perspective of an interpreter, why do you feel it's important that we have these strict guidelines?
Well, in my own opinion, I think these guidelines are really important. They help us do our job well, and it also protects the patient's privacy.
Mhm.
When working as an interpreter remotely, we have over the phone and video, so it's kind of different. For video, we must be on camera, so the space has to look professional and it has to completely be private. We need good lighting, like Carla mentioned, and these guidelines actually help us to feel more confident and prepared. And it also shows the patients that we are here to take care of their confidentiality seriously.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where that the four walls and the locking door come in place, right? We don't want anyone to come in and inadvertently hear a diagnosis or some protected health information. So, Jonas, have you ever had a situation where like the backdrop was an issue, where it fell down on you? I mean, how I guess if that did happen, how would that impact an interpretation session? Oh, I think it might have frozen. So that is the reason I asked that question. This is something that happened in the past. We've since changed our rules to require a solid wall, right? So the backdrop can't just be kind of dangling behind you for your chair to bump into. But you could imagine if you're working as an interpreter, those things could be a big distraction, right? And what we want is for our clients and for our patients to have like a seamless experience. So while
Hi.
we wait, hey, I answered the question for you, Jonas. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't even hear the question. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. Technical difficulties happen. Um, so, and I know, Jonas, you mentioned something about OPI. So, would an OPI interpreter have the same requirements?
Not really. For OPI, it's very different. They are not on video, so they must that must ensure that there is a private space without background noises. But just like I think the question was about the backdrop, it's very different. When working as a BRI, they are seeing you. They feel more confident. Both the healthcare provider and the patient or LEP, they both feel more confident when seeing a face to a voice. But at the end, it is the same goal, right? We must ensure that we comply with HIPAA.
Yep, absolutely. And for anyone in the audience, we do hire OPI and VRI and also in person. So we hire a little bit of everything here. VRI is where we have the bulk of our jobs. But just so you know, we hire all of them. Um, okay, so next question for Carla. So to talk about the office verification, as we call it, um, walk me through how we go about verifying somebody's office space.
Yeah, so we have a couple of steps that they can do that we actually do to verify the home office space. And that would be we do schedule a Teams live video call with you, and we'll essentially use the camera for you to show us around. We'll take some screenshots of the room, just making sure that you do have everything. So that's one with the video call. Another way that you can provide your video is by emailing us your video and making sure that you do show in the video, you do show all of the requirements that we ask of, just by slowly going around the room and going into detail, speaking, like describing what you're showing us. That's another way to verify it. And if in the initial video you do not show everything, we do communicate with you through email, asking to show us anything that was missing in the initial video. But yeah, just basically video call and through email are the two top ones that we do to have that, to verify the office space.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And then Kevin, so next question is for you. So as far as the recruiting process goes, at what point are we mentioning these things to candidates?
Yeah, it's brought up really multiple times throughout the process. The first is in our initial call with candidates, which is what we call our pre-qualifying call, where we go over basics, really preliminary talks on, going over that this is a set schedule position, just checking all the boxes to make sure someone could do this job and so that someone would be interested in this job. And that's really what the first time it's brought up when we talk about, okay, we also need internet connection. You need a private space to work. Your internet needs to meet a certain threshold. And then after that call, if the candidate wants to move forward, then we send them an internet speed test to confirm that they have the proper internet. If they don't at that moment, whether it's they don't have an approved provider or their speeds aren't up to snuff, that's not necessarily the end of the world. It's just something that they have to keep in mind, that as they go through the recruiting process, if they do end up, receiving an offer and wanting to accept it, they will have to change their provider or upgrade their speed, or, we'll communicate with them on what they need, but they'll have to update that by the time that they start. And then we'll have to also verify that once they do get their upgraded internet, that we'll send them the test again, make sure that it works. It's also brought up during the final interview, which is really the last step in the process before a candidate would receive an offer, where it's gone over, office verification or office requirements, making sure that they have an understanding of what they need. And if there's any questions at all on the candidate side, it's another opportunity for them to go over everything and make sure there's no room for misinterpretation, and also confirm that they have the proper internet to support our equipment.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I think it's really good to note that this is something that's brought up multiple times in the recruiting process, and for candidates to also just not only take it seriously, but be kind of honest with themselves. If it's a change that maybe they're not willing to make, just be honest. I think sometimes candidates come through and they think, oh, maybe they'll let this slide if the modem's not in the room with me, but we are pretty strict about our requirements. So, all right. And then next question is for Carla. Tell us about what are some of the most common reasons maybe somebody doesn't pass the office verification?
So there is a few. The most common one that we've gotten in the past is the backdrop on a solid wall. It does become an issue for some interpreters because they want to, sometimes they don't have the space for it, or they'll lean it up against furniture, and that's a risk of it falling over during a session, which is something that will interrupt the interpreting session. So backdrop on a solid wall. Another one is the lock on a door. We do have to have the lock on the door because we do have to protect the patient's confidentiality and making sure that we're following all the steps. But yeah, those two are the main reasons as to why we aren't able to pass an office verification. But please know that we do work with you, and we do send out suggestions on where you can possibly place it. So we're always going to work with you on either a lock suggestion or another suggestion on where you can put the backdrop. So don't stress about it. We're here to help. But yeah, those two are the main reasons.
Yeah, and I mean, we have candidates in, well, obviously, as you see on this call, there's people checking in from all across the country, and we hire from all across the US, from Costa Rica and Mexico too. So we've seen all kinds of different working environments, right? And we try to make it work as much as we can, but just keeping in mind that we do have those firm guidelines. Carla, tell us about some of the locks that are a hard no that you've seen.
Yeah, so some of the locks that we unfortunately cannot pass is a chain lock, because somebody can just crack the door open and listen to the conversation that's going on during the session. We also don't accept key locks, or combination locks, just because, what if there's an emergency and you need to get out of the room quick? So those are the top two, but most importantly, it's any lock that will let the door even crack open just a little bit.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that's a tough one, because sometimes maybe people are renting an apartment. And so again, that's where we say just, be honest with yourself. And if this is something you think like, oh, I live in this apartment, they're not going to let me put a lock on the door, then maybe that's something we need to decide kind of right away. And that leads me to the next question. Kevin, what are the consequences of not passing the office verification?
So if you cannot pass office verification, of course, like Carla said, our team helps you out as much as possible. If a candidate has made it that far through the process, we obviously want them to cross the finish line and come on board and join us. But if they cannot pass the office verification, then they will not be able to start with us because they can't be compliant with our policies, with HIPAA policies. It's just something that we can't move forward with. So that's why, it's important to be transparent, be aware from the beginning, but also be transparent with our team so we can help out as much as possible. Most situations, not all, but most are obstacles that can be overcome. It's just the earlier that everything is out on the table, the more we can help and the more likely we are to have a smooth process.
Yeah, perfect. And then are there typically other options for somebody that maybe can't do VRI because of their workspace, like maybe in person or over the phone?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can do OPI, which for us is over the phone or in person, depending on your location. Our recruiters are aware of all options, and if that's something that some people do prefer over the phone because it provides more flexibility. Some people, want to do in person because they like to do in person better. It just really comes down to preference. So it's not the end all be all if you don't have an office setting that can support a VRI environment. It just means that we'll have to look at other options to work with you.
Yep, exactly. And for anyone listening who's interested in our job opportunities, please go to our website. We have tons of openings right now, basically in all languages. A lot of the more rare languages are over the phone, and then we have our VRI. Right now, we are hiring for Mandarin, Cantonese, ASL always, Vietnamese, Rohingya. That's one we've had a big need for, Lao. So certainly, take a look at our website and you can apply. We'd love to talk more about office verifications and everything else with you. So yeah, Jonas, this next question is for you. As someone who's gone through the office verification, what tips can you give to a candidate to ensure they pass the first time, they, have a smooth process? Oh, we can't hear. I think we have an issue. I can't hear. Oh, better now? No. Well, that's okay. Kevin, do you want to take a stab? I know you haven't gone through office verification
Oh,
yourself, but just
of course.
pretend you have.
I've got enough
Hi.
on the ones.
Oh, there we
go.
go. Yay.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of technical difficulties here, but yeah, I have, if you don't mind, Kevin, I have a few tips that I can give the other interpreters that go through the same process. First one, and I think it's one of the most important, make sure to check your spam folder in your email. In my case, the office verification email went through the spam folder, so I didn't read it uh, in like 3 days. So it delayed my start date for about a week. So make sure to check your spam folder when you're after the. It was after the final interview, I believe. And when you're going through the office verification process, uh, treat it like if you're setting up for the real shift. Make sure that the space is quiet, that it is private, that there is not going to be someone walking around or that will be able to hear your calls. Close any doors, make sure that they are locked, make sure that the backdrop is free of creases, that it is clean and free of creases or wrinkles. Make sure to check up your lightings, that everything is clear. Um, and when you're going to do the actual process, take your time with the videos or photos. In my case, I submitted a video. At the end, we just have to show the steps that were previously mentioned by Carla in order for you to complete it. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to Carla or the other members of the team, or even your recruiter. And at the end, I think he was the main point of contact for me during the whole recruitment and hiring process. And at the end, if you want to make sure that it is completely right, do yourself this question. Would I feel comfortable sharing my private health information in this space? If the answer is yes, I think you're good to go.
That was a great answer, and there's multiple things to talk about there, but something you said in the beginning, treat this like it's the actual work day, right? But also an important point is, this is a remote job, so this is essentially you're setting up like a remote place of what would be an office, right? So we don't have people coming into the office, but we still want to maintain that same level of professionalism. And thank you for the call out about the spam folder. One thing that I think is great about us is that we always have recruiters ready and willing to answer questions. And then, of course, the office verification team and even onboarding specialists. So, certainly, if you feel like, hey, I should have gotten something by now, reach out to one of those individuals, and we're always happy to help. We got some questions from the audience. So this is a really good question. How big of a wall do I need for the backdrop? And the backdrop is about 5 by 7 feet. So it is pretty big. The backdrop in Mexico is a little different from what I understand. It's something that's just affixed to the wall, right, Carla? Is that about the same size?
Yeah, it's about the same size. The one that we do send out for our Mexico agents, it is like a cloth backdrop. So you're able to size it to the wall that you're choosing, or you can completely spread it out against a big wall. It's just your preference, but just making sure that it is on the solid wall and it is, securely attached to the wall so it doesn't fall down.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And then somebody is asking if we hire international remote interpreters. And right now we're hiring from the US, Costa Rica, and Mexico. And somebody is asking if we're hiring Spanish interpreters. And yes, we are. Go to our website. Certainly you'll see some job postings there. So yeah, thank you for the questions. All right, and I have a question for whoever wants to take this one. If I'm somebody who wants to use my own equipment, is that allowed?
I can answer that question. Yeah, there was this time where my headset, just like today, it was not working properly. So I had to ask for a replacement. I wanted to finish my shift. So what I did was reaching out to my manager. I asked, "Hi, I have this headset that I use for my for personal use. Can I use it?" And she said,
Oh, I think we lost Jonas again.
That sometimes it can be a lot.
Jonas, I think we need to, you're
Yeah.
breaking up really bad.
Not all the time, like in a special occasion.
Yeah, you're breaking up really bad. I'm sorry. Kevin, do you want to take that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Finish
like
it.
he was saying, maybe a one-off time like that to finish a shift, but for the most part, no, it has to be the equipment that we provide because we have to make sure that it is um, something that we can rely on, something we can depend on. There's too many variables outside of that. So, in certain specific instances, possibly, but overall, no, it's the equipment that we provide.
Yeah. And it's,
I'd like to add to that. I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
So why we use our equipment and why we always say that you should use this any besides your personal equipment is because we do have a technical team that does check the equipment that it's working properly. So it does have to run through them as well to make sure that everything is connected, everything is working fine, even if it's a speaker or your headset or even monitors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we do have some individuals that might need a special accommodation for like a physical reason. Maybe they need a screen reader. Um, we do hire blind VRI interpreters, which is really cool. We have a screen reading software, so in cases like that, we can certainly make special accommodations too. But yeah, for the most part, you can't just use your own computer or headset or monitors. Sit back and relax and let us give you all that. So another question came through. How many interviews in total? Kevin, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, really, two two live interviews, and then two, I'll say recorded, but really what the interview process looks like is there's the initial call that I mentioned, the pre-qualifying call, where that's really the introductory call. You go over, basic information, determine if it's something that you would like to move forward with. If so, after that, we do what's called a pre-screen, where you record some video interpreting related questions. It gives you a chance to speak on your experience, gives you a chance to showcase your video presence, show that you're comfortable in front of a camera and speaking to it. Then after that, there is a language assessment and specifically in medical interpreting assessment that you go over. And then if you pass that, then you are doing a live final interview on video. So really altogether, I would say two interviews when you think of classic interviews where you're speaking with a recruiter or talent acquisition personnel, but altogether 4 steps from the initial call to receiving an offer.
Yep. Thank you. Perfect. Couple more questions, and then we're getting close to the end here. Let's see. Does AMN? If I move to the U.S., but then to another country that's not U.S., Mexico, or Costa Rica, could I still work with AMN? Unfortunately, no. It's just those 3 countries right now that we're directly hiring with for employees. Okay, and I think well, that's all my questions. I think this was a great session, and I want to thank our guests, Carla, Kevin, Jonas. Definitely a big shout out to our ASL team, which is Jeremy and Audrey behind the scenes. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you all here next month, same time, same place.